We're talking about full-blown threats, messy secrets, and a scandal that's about to rock the entire love and hip-hop universe to its foundation. So tell me why Kendra Robinson, yes, young Jock's wife, is suddenly in the middle of this disaster. And why Kirk is looking so wild, messy, and downright disrespectful that even reality TV couldn't make this up. Mike just put Kirk Frost on notice, and not in a let's talk this out like grown men kind of way. More anxious than a man who forgot his wife's birthday, because when I tell you that the secret affair was just revealed, I mean blown up like a reality TV show. The drama is too much, the tea is hot, and the fallout few, let's just say, aren't playing. Kirk might want to start planning a trip far away before things get even messier. Is this the end of Kirk and Rashida? Is young Jock going to lose it? Why is Milling risking everything? When we believed that Kirk Frost had successfully slithered his way out of every scandal imaginable, another bombshell was dropped. And this one is messier than we could have ever imagined, because this time it's not just about Kirk skulking around or Rashida playing the devoted. Forgiving wife nope. This time we have Ems Harris entering the ring, and let's just say that he's not here to play nice. Now, let me ask you all something. What happens when you combine reality TV's most let's break it down? Kirk believed he was slick and that he could move in silence. But the streets always talk. And this time they're saying that Kirk has been getting too close with none other than Kendra Robinson. Now pause, because I know what you're thinking. Kendra, as in young, scandalous husband, high-powered lawyer, and man who doesn't take disrespect lightly. That's right, you get a full-blown war, and Kirk may have just signed himself up for a battle he isn't prepared for. We all know Kirk's history scandals, side babies, business deals that don't always seem completely legal. Check, check, check. But what sets this situation apart is that Kendra isn't just any random woman caught in a love triangle. She is someone with power, influence, and authority. Jock's wife, the same woman who fought a war to defend Jock's messy past. The same woman who claims to be all about business and keeping it professional. The fact that her name is even being mentioned in this sort of mess is problematic, according to an anonymous but highly connected source. Kirk and Kendra's small dispute began as strictly business, with Kendra ostensibly assisting Kirk with some legal matters, handling a few deals behind closed doors, and ensuring that his business endeavors weren't drawing too much attention. Along the way, things became personal. Now, I'm not saying that Kendra is unfaithful or that she's seeing someone else, but the information we have indicates that things are not looking good for her. Rumor has it that there have been covert late-night meetings and hushed phone conversations. And let's not even mention the one business trip Kirk took that Rashida was conveniently left out of. Okay, and you know who wasn't happy about this mess? Let's face it, messes. Kendra was handling some legal matters for Maisy on the side, making sure certain business interests of his were kept nice and clean. When he discovered that she was doing the same for Kirk, he felt betrayed. According to sources, Maisy and Kirk actually had a sit-down not too long ago, and let's just say it did not go well. He usually avoids getting involved in other people's drama if it doesn't involve Yandi, his money, or his name. In an attempt to maintain his composure, Kirk claimed that everything between him and Kendra was strictly professional and that they were only conducting business. However, I wasn't buying it. And the reason was that there were receipts showing that someone whom we won't name leaked a voicemail in which Kirk was speaking to Kendra in a really reckless manner. Let's just say that if Rashida ever obtained this voicemail, Kirk would be leaving the house sooner than you can say Frosty. But wait, because this is where things get really Rashida. The same woman who has supported Kirk through all of his scandals, embarrassments, and disrespectful actions over the years is the one who allegedly left the voicemail. When Rashida learned of Kirk and Kendra's little secret dealings, she didn't even bother to confront Kirk. Instead, she went straight to Maisy, knowing that he wouldn't play games with it. When Maisy received that voicemail, this is where things get crazy, because the best part is that Maisy didn't just call Kirk and check him over the phone. According to witnesses, Kirk was at one of his lounges going about his business, probably thinking everything was fine, when all of a sudden, MS came in looking like he was ready to throw hands. MSAs wasted no time in approaching Kirk and pressing him like a new suit. And Kirk, you already know, began to stammer and perspire, likely looking around for security. Let's not forget the biggest wild card in this whole situation, young Jock. Listen, it's one thing for Kirk to get caught up in another scandal, which is to be expected at this point. But the second Jock discovers that his wife's name is even being mentioned in this. According to sources, he gave Kirk a serious warning. If he discovers that Kirk was doing anything other than business with Kendra, there will be a problem. Oh, mess, it's over. And we already know how Jock gets when he feels like someone is playing him. Now, it gets even messier because, according to reports, Kirk and Kendra had a final secret meeting after Maisy checked him. You mean to tell me that despite all the drama and threats, after Maisy made it clear that wouldn't work, Kirk still felt brave enough to connect with Kendra? If that isn't a death wish, I don't know what is. Was actually the one who leaked that. Voicemail. At this point, Kirk may need to start sleeping with one eye open because, based on the current situation, he has put himself in the middle of a storm that he is not prepared for. And believe me, this is only the beginning because in part 2, we're going to delve deeply into what transpired at that secret meeting. How and why Jock found out. And be prepared to go much further than just you would think that after. Maisy checked Kirk in the lounge. He would have learned his lesson and would have laid low, focused on Rashida, and stopped entertaining anything that even slightly resembles a scandal. But Kirk Frost is allergic to peace, common sense, and danger. Warning, you thought it couldn't get any worse, but wait a minute. Let's talk about this alleged secret meeting between Kirk and Kendra. For self-preservation, Kirk allegedly contacted Kendra once more to arrange a last-minute low-key meeting that was meant to be strictly business-related. However, let's face it, if it was so innocent, why was it taking place in secret? This is where things get really heated because guess who learned about this little rendezvous? Young Jock. Let me tell you, the Jock's discovery was like adding gasoline to an already out-of-control fire. According to sources, the Jock was caught off guard when the news got to him. He had no idea that his wife's name was even mentioned in this mess, much less that she was allegedly still in contact with Kirk after Mendeecees had already corrected the record. The worst part is that Jock didn't learn from Kendra or Kirk themselves. Instead, he learned from Mendeecees, who, while not a huge fan of Jock, knows better than to let a man walk around looking foolish. So apparently Mendeecees hits Jock up like, yo, you might want to talk to your girl because she and Kirk are still acting funny out here. And when I say that Jock lost it, I mean lost it because, let's not forget, Jock had to defend Kendra on national television before, swearing repeatedly that his marriage is stable, that Kendra is faithful, and that despite his past, she has always been a woman of integrity. Therefore, learning that Kendra has even put herself in a situation where people are whispering about her in this way was the ultimate slap in the face for, instead of waiting for Kendra to explain himself, the Jock chose to handle his own way. By pulling up on Kirk, imagine Kirk thinking that everything is fine and that he's at one of his spots, probably feeling like he dodged a bullet after DC's warning. And then suddenly, the Jock appears, looking as though he's ready to spill all of Kirk's dirty laundry. Witnesses claim that the second Jock entered the room. Jock may joke around a lot, but when he's angry, he's angry. Supposedly, Jock wasted no time in approaching Kirk, getting close and saying something like, "So, you're just out here meeting up with my wife behind my back now? Can Kirko? You already know started playing dumb? Man, it's not even like that, bro. It was just business. You know how it is." But Jock wasn't buying it, not even for a second. Because, let's be honest, how many we've heard Kirk say it's just business a few times before the truth comes out and shows that it was everything but business? Jock, not even trying to listen. 2, the excuses, pulls out his phone and begins to look up evidence. What Kirk didn't realize was that Mendeecees had already sent him some of the receipts and that leaked voicemail in which Kirk was ranting to Kendra. Oh yes, Jock had it on deck. So when Kirk insisted that nothing was happening on Jock, he simply hit play and listened the moment that I don't know exactly what Jock said next. But let's just say that it made Kirk reevaluate every choice he's ever made in life, because apparently, when the voicemail began playing, Kirk's face turned all shades of guilty. Because, this wasn't just some lighthearted business talk. Kirk was being way too comfortable, saying way too much, and making it clear that his relationship with Kendra was way deeper than just a couple of legal meetings. Always seems to get away with whatever he does, and Kirk finally got checked in a way that he couldn't talk his way out of. The most bizarre part is that, as all of this was happening, Rashida, yes, the woman who has supported Kirk through everything, and who has repeatedly allowed this man to embarrass her, came in the middle of his worst nightmare. Based on the way she looked at him, let's just say that Kirk could die from looks. Wouldn't have survived that room. This is where things take a drastic turn for the worse, because rather than defending Kirk, Rashida allegedly turned to Jock and sided with him. That's right. Rashida stood there and allowed Jock to attack Kirk without saying a word in support of him. You know what that means, though? Because it means she already knew. That she had already seen the receipts. That she had already put 2 and 2 together. And at this point, she was just as the Jock finished checking Kirk. Rashida did something that no one saw coming. She walked up to Kirk, looked him in the face, and said something like, "You better fix this, or I will." And y'all, the way Kirk froze. That man knew right then and there that he was in serious trouble. The man knew immediately that he was in serious trouble. But wait, because this is where it gets even wilder. At the end of this crazy story, we're talking about divorce papers, legal threats, and Kirk possibly losing everything. Well, this isn't even close to being over. So let's get this straight. Rashida isn't just angry, she's finished. And let's just say that if Kirk thought dealing with Maisy and Jock was bad, he has no idea what's coming next. Rashida walked in, saw the entire mess, and didn't say a word in his defense. While Kirk was out here playing with fire, Rashida was already moving in silence behind his back. What exactly was she doing to get her money? She was lining up her legal team and getting ready. Instead of crying like she has in the past, she just looked Kirk in the face and said, "You better fix this, or I will know that right there." You already know that when a woman like Rashida reaches that point, it's game over. To put a stop to the circus once and for all, it is said that Rashida is preparing to file for divorce from Kirk. Let's face it, we have heard this before. People have been saying for years that Rashida should have left Kirk, that she deserves better, that she should have left the moment he had a whole baby on her with another woman, but she stayed. However, this time feels different because, according to people close to Rashida, she has finished talking and is done getting divorced. Arguing, and she's finally prepared to leave. But the worst part is that she's taking everything with her. If you thought Kirk was anxious when Mendeecees was pressuring him, or anxious when Jock rolled up on him, you have no idea how much panic this man is currently experiencing, because for the first time in his life, Kirk is realizing that Rashida wasn't just his wife. She was his entire financial safety net, that pressed empire, which is Rashida, for those endorsements. Deals her that reality TV check. It ain't coming without her, and now she's allegedly preparing to take it all and leave Kirk with nothing but regrets. What's worse is that, according to some very close sources, Rashida isn't just leaving quietly. She's going to air Kirk out on national TV. That's right, Rashida is allegedly planning to expose everything in an exclusive interview. We don't know who she's sitting down with yet, but let's assume it's Tamron Hall or DJ Vlad Kirk. As you are already aware, when Rashida speaks, the entire world is listening. And this isn't even the worst part for Kirk, because even though he is trying to figure out how to save his marriage, his reputation, and his bank account, Mendeecees is still not done with him. This is because after Rashida that Kirk needed to fix. This Mendeecees allegedly took that as evidence that Kirk didn't handle business the first time, and you already know if there is one. Some Mendeecees don't play about respect, so guess what? Mendeecees allegedly pulled up on Kirk again, but this time it wasn't at a lounge or some other public place where people could intervene and break things up. Instead, it was just the two of them. What transpired during that private conversation? Well, we might never know the whole story, but let's just say that Kirk hasn't been spotted outside since. Guess what else has gone silent? Kendra. The fact that sis hasn't posted, left a comment, or denied anything is suspicious, because if she truly had nothing to hide, she would be out there clearing her name and telling everyone that she has nothing to do with this mess. However, radio silence indicates that either she is guilty and is unsure of how to clean this up, or she is aware that nothing she says will change the situation because it is already getting out of control. The real question here is where Kirk goes from here, because let's face it, Kirk is done if Rashida actually files for divorce and if M truly puts him in his place behind the scenes. The Jock is not letting this go either. If you think he is just going to let his wife's name get dragged through the mud and not retaliate, you must not know that he is about to make some serious moves to set the record straight. Let's just say that Kendra may not like what's coming, is coming for revenge. There is no turning back from this, and the worst part is that this is only the beginning, because Rashida truly tells the world what Kirk has been doing behind closed doors for all these years. He could lose not just his wife, but also his entire career. The real question now is whether Kirk is going to face the biggest setback of his life, or if he will somehow manage to get out of this mess as he always does. This tea is getting hotter by the second, so please share your thoughts in the comments section. I'll be back with more updates soon, but in the meantime, stay messy, keep watching, and be prepared, because nobody is safe in Hollywood. And that's just the beginning, everyone. I need to know if you think Rashida is finally going to leave Kirk for good, if you think Maisy is still plotting behind the scenes, and most importantly, what do you think Kendra is really hiding? I have to ask you all, whose side are you on? Is Rashida making the right decision by allegedly leaving Kirk, or do you think she's just bluffing again? And what do you think Kendra is really up to? The situation is already this messy. Just think about what's going to happen next. Will she finally walk away and take everything with her? Will Kirk somehow manage to clean up this disaster before it's too late? Since I'm hiding because, let's face it, something isn't adding up. Please share your thoughts in the comments section right now. This conversation isn't over, so if you want to be the first to know about any updates, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and enable notifications. Trust me, this tea is boiling, and I've prepared the next cup for you all. Stay tuned and keep watching. Therefore, remain prepared, since in this field the truth always surfaces.